So we are here to talk about the movie Thirst. Cheers! So Thirst is a 2016 horror sci-fi movie, and looks like it's made for TV. I have to be honest, I'm not quite sure if it was, but it definitely has a kind of TV feel to it. Now, this film basically takes place in the kind of in the desert somewhere, pretty much. Has a kind of Tremors aesthetic to it, and it focuses on this kind of group of wayward teens that have been sent to this kind of like tough love school, which is run by this kind of this small family, to basically try and kind of instill some discipline into their kids. So they have this small kind of group of teenagers taken off into the wilderness to learn to live off the land, etc. However, in the meantime, there's some strange craft has crashed down in the area and contains a gooey monster. And obviously it attacks our heroes, and much blood and guts ensue. So what is this film like? This is an interesting film in the fact that it's so generic. Because this is really just a paint-by-the-numbers kind of monster movie. I can't believe there's actually a script for this, because the story is so by the numbers. It's such a kind of like a basic story that we've seen before. I can't believe anyone has actually written a story behind this, because it's such a sort of similar thing that we've seen 100 other times. Now, that isn't to say that it does it badly. It's just that it's so kind of paint by numbers in regards to its kind of storytelling. Now, let me go into a little bit more detail in regards to the positives and negatives. I will say, we'll start off with the positives first of all. I will say that even though it is a somewhat generic story, you know, it's done to a sort of kind of a reasonable standard, I feel. Like this is a passable kind of creature feature. With, you know, that is kind of goes at a good pace. It's got got a fairly good cast, I would say. Some good location shootings here. And the creature, you actually see quite a lot. You do see quite a lot of the creature. I'm in two minds whether I kind of like it or not. Early on, I thought the creature design looked pretty interesting, but I'll come on to that again in just a minute with some of my negatives. It's somewhat of a odd choice, to be honest, but we'll kind of get onto that. But it has an interesting MO. Basically, it has this kind of maw that sort of shoots out and essentially drains the kind of the fluids from your body. So it's pretty gruesome, and that's obviously hence the name Thirst. So that was kind of quite fun, and there are some kind of fun characters here. So I especially like our kind of hit main lead, if you like. I believe his name is John Redlinger. He's very much looking like Stephen Amell from Arrow, I've got to say. They're almost like brothers. They look so similar. But he's actually quite good. He's actually quite a likeable character, and he plays it across pretty nice in the fact that he's like this kind of like bit of a kind of a family man. He's not, he's a nice guy, but he's also got this kind of tough side. Doesn't come across as kind of like douchey at all or anything like that. So I quite like his character, and I also like the fact he has this kind of family dynamic with his uncle and his aunt and stuff like that. That I also liked. So let's talk about some of the negatives first of all. I will repeat again that what I've said. This story here is just it's so generic. I mean, you can literally predict everything. There just seems to be no imagination what's in this. They've just gone, let's bring up this old story about this kind of creature landing in the desert, and we'll kind of chase all these kind of generic teens and stuff like that, and that'll basically be it. There just doesn't seem to have been much thought behind it, to be honest with you. Let's talk about the creature itself, because I have some problems with this. Now, I've mentioned there are a few shots, essentially when it's dark, the actual creature design looks quite good. It actually looks somewhat a little bit like h.r.Giger's Alien design, when we first see it at least. However, when we see it later on, it actually looks more like a kind of a weird centaur. But what I don't understand is the design of this, because it's basically biomechanical. Not in the way that the aliens are from the Giger things, but it's literally a cyborg with machine bits in it, basically. It's okay. Sort of robotic creatures I don't find quite as kind of scary. A kind of gooey alien, probably a little bit more unpredictable. But when we're given no context about why it's there, why is it a kind of cyborg, monster basically? Why is it half machine, half creature? And then we kind of look at we can look at some logic issues here. So basically, it has this kind of like this sort of maw thing that kind of shoots out from its chest, which is basically like a kind of a sucker, which basically attaches to your victims and then sucks the juices out. So that's essentially its mouth. So why the hell has it got this kind of massive, great big gaping jaws with sharp teeth on it when it is literally eating through this sort of this maw? It seems redundant. I don't know why you would have this kind of like this big mouth if it's never actually used. It kind of seems like a poor design choice and evolutionary bad choices, should we say. It wouldn't happen like that. You wouldn't have this completely superfluous mouth when if you have this maw thing that sort of comes up. And then the thing is that it reproduces completely biological like babies and stuff. Well, how is it possible if it's kind of some kind of machine? The babies don't look like cyborg, so if someone built this, there's no context to it, none whatsoever. So I didn't really like that, to be honest. I thought the creature design initially, when you kind of first look at it, looks okay, but when you start thinking about it, it seems kind of silly, to be honest, and not particularly well thought through. Maybe I'm demanding a little bit too much, but it just seems some odd choices. The CGI is a mixed bag. You actually see the creature quite a lot. But I think because of that, there are areas where it looks kind of cheap, and there are kind of a couple of kind of cheap-looking sort of explosions and stuff like that. Other characters, although some of the characters are quite fun, they are all very generic. I mean, my God, it has this kind of typical thing where it's killing all the kind of like everyone it comes across, apart from the one girl, which is the love interest of the hero. So of course she is captured. It's just like, oh my God, it's so lazy, unfortunately. Now, I'm so like I'm really ragging on this film, but I actually thought it was quite fun, to be honest. It's so just generic, but it's still a passable kind of time waste if you like a kind of creature feature. But you're not going to remember. I don't think it has anything to kind of really kind of recommend it over any other type of film, but it's a passable sort of creature feature at the same time. So, bit of a kind of disappointment with this one. I kind of would have liked to have seen a little bit more originality in it, or would have a little bit of context about what it is we're actually kind of seeing. I mean, there's other things as well. I mean, there's no military when this thing crash lands or anything like that. I don't know, this is kind of like, feels very rushed to me. So I'm going to give this movie a 4.5 out of 10, just below average for me, because I thought this is a very average film. There's some logic issues that I'm not quite a big fan of. 4.5 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.